share it with me, so I can share it.
If you, unless you can go straight to some
Go straight to what?
IG live page. It's on not IG page. It's the first.
Are we live?
Yes, we are. Hello, and welcome back to Warren's Midwest. For some reason, we were having technical difficulties, and we really do apologize about that. We do apologize about that. Hearing myself, hearing through the speaker, I didn't want you to stop that. That was going to be so amazing. That was like messing with me. No, don't do it now because it's going to look weird. But thank you so much. Thank you so much for tuning in. Yes, sir, brother. I got you on that link right now. This is called Life Saving. If you've ever seen, no, I ain't gonna throw. You will throw him under, not the bus, but if you've ever seen that Grammy cut when Lil Bow Wow was told to go for another 5 minutes because they needed 5 minutes of buying time before they could start the show with Grammys, he ran around like this. That was us doing that, but doing that with style, like falling with style, like Buzz Lightyear said. This is the same thing. We're just doing it excellently, and thank y'all so much for rocking with us. We really appreciate you. And I guess we should start off by playing one of Brother Justin Famous' songs. Today, Brother Justin Famous is here to talk about his EP, Daydreamin', and we're going to get right back into that because we don't want to keep anybody waiting.
And Terry's going to do the bottle cap challenge.
I low-key did that, okay. I was low-key warming up.
You ain't doing that shit.
I was warming up.
But you ain't doing it.
I was warming up, though. If y'all saw the pause for the moment of silence for the ground, it probably sounded like the Rangers moving monster. I play this or you play this?
You know I'm fucking with people.
That was him.
Okay, I was like, I know that ain't my phone.
I was like, look at that. I was like, I didn't click that. I was like, who's in my head right now? Anyway. But yeah, thank y'all so much for tuning in.
You heard that Gucci Mane and Lil Uzi Vert yet?
Shout out to Stockyard Coffee for having us.
Goddamn.
And thank you so much to Swank PR for holding us down and all the other affiliates. Warden's Midwest, we really appreciate y'all. Luxury Productions and SOTOV Unlimited. Much love to y'all. We actually got family in the house right now. We got Lindsay Productions who came through there in the town. Brother Mike is in the building. I don't know if he's gonna get on camera for y'all, but I might make him do a jig. I don't know if it makes sense. Like this.
No, I get it, but you still doing the bottle cap challenge?
I'm probably still gonna do the butterfly challenge. I feel it. I'm ready for it. I'm really ready for it. Do they loosen it up first, or do they just put it up there?
Nah, you're not gonna crack it from scratch. You ain't gonna open it again.
That's what I was like. I was seeing. I was like, if somebody did that, that's what I was trying to see. I don't know, bro. Did you see how Jet Li did it? Did anybody see the video of Jet Li?
I see Jet Li.
I see.
Donnie Yen.
Y'all see your boy Donnie Yen?
You ever see It Man?
Bro.
Oh, no, bro. He did a front.
With the blindfold,
He did the Tai Chi kick.
With the blindfold, bro.
Blindfolded.
With the blind, and then he did like this, like.
He did the
Tai Chi. And the blindfold, like yo wouldn't.
You know the half crescent stance, like real quick. Ooh,
eliteness.
If you don't know what that is, man, that's some cool. Try it yourself. If you got a big enough living room or outside. Definitely don't do what I did.
What did you do?
I knocked the bottle cap in the kitchen, made a mess. The cap came off though.
The cap did come off though. Yeah, eliteness, man. Nobody was ready for that one. I forget who else was doing it. Somebody else.
Right? Hey, that was the best one. You can't top that. Blindfold one, real. You can't top that.
Gotta give your boy respect.
Woo!
Yeah, but there it is. So if y'all tuning in and rocking with us, we really do appreciate y'all. I'm going to share this link to everybody.
And this video is super trippy. It's not edited.
Yeah, we apologize about all that. You know, we're doing testing, 1, 2, 3 testing, and it's testing good. So we appreciate y'all for rocking with us and staying with us live. We're going to keep it moving. Brother Justin Famous is going to reintroduce his music.
Yeah, because it seems like a deja vu. Really,
right? We're just doing it all over again. We got to do it twice. Double mind, 2 times for your mind, not 1 time. That was on purpose.
That's synchronicity right there. That's all that is.
That was on purpose. That was actually.
Way to dust our shoulders off. We're gonna have to skip the moment of grind. I believe.
The grind moment was already grinded.
Low key, I might just make a little expression.
Alright, we got somebody there.
Thank you so much for tuning
Okay,
back
we
in.
got two people there. Look at that.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all so
If you
much.
can
for
hear
letting
if you can hear us, please say something.
Thank you so much.
Say it
If y'all
in
hear
the
any
chat.
music that y'all like, we're gonna be playing brother Justin Famous's EP. If y'all enjoy it, please make sure y'all check him out. This song that he's about to be playing is called. This is actually called Double Mind, and this on his 8 EP, which is actually Roman numeral 8. Boom.
Yeah, that's B.
Yeah, I'm gonna just keep calling it that now. Man, you gotta play that VII, bro. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
I thought 8 was IIX. Or is it
B
VII?
is 5, so it's
B3?
CBS.
What's going on?
I'll mess with it.
I thought we was doing Star Wars. I was like, what?
Yeah.
B3 CPS, B3 CPS. Y'all can't steal that. Y'all can't steal that, Disney. I'm watching y'all. That's a good Android Star Wars.
Stop playing. Disney can steal whatever the fuck they want.
As long as
And put whatever they want in your face.
Alright, so let's play Double Mind. Y'all ready? Alright, cool.
I'm just trying to let go. Funny, it's easier said than done. You're not the hot type, but the I got type. Funny, look, I'm just trying to let go and put the pieces together and start building. Look, I'm just trying to leave a legacy for my children, but it's hard to do, but it wasn't really done for me. Generational curses that I'm just trying to be healthy. I'm just trying to eat. I'm just trying to make a band. Chop that, I'm just trying to make some bands. But without having to sell my soul, I'm just trying to give my all, but still stay whole. Half of me want to go, but I still don't know what's more important. My speed or my direction. I'm just trying to choose. I'm just trying to move. I'm not trying to lose. Stop trying, you just do. When you keep trying, when you keep trying, when you keep trying, when you keep trying. You need to stop trying and just do it.
This is a good song to have with coffee if you have coffee in the
When you
morning.
keep trying, when you keep trying,
Man, fuck them all.
when you keep trying, you need to stop trying and just do it. You need to stop trying and just do it. You need to stop trying and just. Yeah, I got fears, not like I'm scared, I'm just trying not to look stupid. I know I shouldn't, but I really like to look foolish. Not afraid that if I try, I might do it, but they might look through it. See, I'm just trying to resonate. You feel that deep in your temple where you store your soul. I give that, but when you fight hard to keep your peace, they still that, trying to find how to heal that. Stop trying, just. Yeah, I got desires, say I don't get tempted, I'll be a liar. Hard to cease the fire, so when I meditate on meditate in single ways to my conviction, wrote my predictions of pessimism. Trying to find the herbs to heal this pain, trying to find the words to describe how I'm feeling inside. Trying to buy some time, trying to increase my gains, trying to choose the right way. Stop trying, just do it. When you keep trying, when you keep trying, when you keep trying, when you keep trying, you need to stop trying and just do it. When you keep trying, when you keep trying, when you keep trying, when you keep trying, you need to stop trying and just do it. You need to stop trying and just.
Alright, that's my favorite part right here. Right now,
Stop
like
trying and
I need like 2 fine ladies and sundresses right now.
Tiki torches.
On the beach.
Like in the beach, boy.
I'm pretty sure Justin Famous on his wife in here right now.
You need to stop trying.
You are the light. Your eyes are now the only way to see.
you need to stop trying and just do it. When you keep trying, when you keep trying, when you keep trying, when you keep trying, you need to stop trying and just do it. When you keep trying, when you keep trying, when you keep trying, when you keep trying, you need to stop trying and just do it. I have what I needed. If I had stop trying, don't want to have it now. It's probably when you have it.
That is so perfect. Man, I love that song because it gives me joy. I'm never thinking I'm never really listening to it. I'm not laughing and making fun of the song. That song gives me joy in the way.
No, I love how he does that at the end.
You're supposed to make that face when you say that already.
Because you feel the try. It's like just getting over it, but it's like so symbolic of the try. It's like hitting that high note and holding it and just riding on it. You know what I mean? Just like it's good.
Shout out to J Artists. J_Art is with a Z. It's my boy.
J_Art_IZ. Make sure y'all follow your boy. He got he sings. If y'all heard, he can sing.
Band now too. Shout out Loose. They done anything in the St. Louis, Columbia area.
Hey. Okay. There it is. So like we said, that was how we came to know brother Justin Famous. Excuse me. He actually was in Eat Fest. Is when we originally met him. I actually had the pleasure of performing right before he went on, and he killed it. I was actually impressed. Like, man, y'all love to do stage presence, and then he said he produced his own stuff. He did a little bit of singing and rapping. Very diverse production. So I ended up inviting him back to come on UIC radio at the time, and we were able to hear a lot of the 8 EP that he just played for us. So now I'm challenging him. So now since we kind of went through this, and y'all might have missed some of it when we did it, technical difficulty. Thankful that y'all stuck with us. But I'm gonna have him basically DJ some of his highlight tracks from that last EP, or maybe some he hasn't released, and then
work our way to a premiere
of the new track. And if he's feeling frisky enough, show some more stuff. So, brother Justin,
frisky enough, that freestyle.
We'll see.
Because you said frisky, that's what I thought you meant. You're like more stuff. I was like, "Fuck, is more stuff mean?" Like, let's get specific. That's how you try, girl.
Yeah, we got enough.
You got some tequila, yeah, and some more stuff.
More stuff.
You know what I mean?
Please fill in the blanks. Oh yeah.
It was one of the best, one of the most standout tracks on my project. Was actually one that I'm completely not even on.
Oh.
A lot of ladies love this joint. It's actually called Temptation.
You just like produce it, and
I produced it, and then I wrote the vocals that's on top of it. It's kind of like a house joint. And what's dope is me and J Artists, we actually was working on EP of years that never got completed. But this was a song, the house song.
Oh, I just hear a 20-some-year-old emotion. Like
it's fire.
I got you. Yeah.
People love.
I love house.
Anybody they work out to it and everything. So I'm probably gonna end up seeing a visual with it. But I'll play that for y'all. If y'all haven't heard it again, it's 8. Go search Justin Famous. That's VIII Justin Famous on all the social media. You just follow me. You know what I'm saying? Check out my stuff. It's in a link. You can find it. But I'm done talking. I'm gonna let the music do it. Temptation, featuring the beautiful Yana Renee.
Yana.
Hold up, wait a minute. 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 It's not too much to chase and busy. You know there's something missing.
You can easily reggaeton this shit up. Like,
you need to stop
you want to be an asshole, dance off. Yeah.
You know there's something missing.
I got like strong principles. Like,
It's not too much.
Yeah, don't do that.
You need to stop pretending. You know you want it.
Yeah, so that one, people still tell me about that, man.
you need to send that to some DJs, man.
Now,
That song's on. That's like 2 minutes or something like that.
it's just like, yep, just
As a DJ with some experience on my back, I'll DJ funk, bass, that shit all day. Like, you know what I mean? Chicago's.
Oh yeah. That's what I was really going for, man.
It's just those real dominant bass lines. You know what I mean?
It bangs.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, some like movie subs. It go crazy. Yeah. So that was something that was real like big.
So I actually want to, before we continue, I actually started something earlier, and I've been thinking about it, and I think I want to ask because I think it's going to be a good little discussion, little piece. So I see that. I think when I first met you, you were starting your journey into like being more plant-based, and now I see that you like now kind of got more into that.
Yeah. I think when we met, I was about 2-3 years ago. So probably about almost going into a year of actually being doing it. So I had learned a lot.
Congratulations, brother! I'm really happy for you. I remember.
At that time.
So yeah, I seen him at the store, man, and he was picking out some stuff. He was helping me pick out some stuff for groceries and stuff. I really appreciate that. And I wanted to ask, so we were making drinks. You know, we make everybody drinks here when it comes to. We appreciate everybody getting some coffee and stuff. And you were saying that you do not consume honey. Why is that?
Oh, so I don't drink honey mainly for 2 reasons. One,
Yeah, I'm about to say, I don't want to make everybody think I'm coming at them. There's a split, like I said, divide in the like plant-based vegan, if you would, world about people who choose to consume honey and people who do not choose to consume honey. And I love this debate because I'm right in the middle of it, but I am a vegan who consumes honey.
okay. So the one reason is that it's a little more acidic than plant-based sweeteners, such as like agave, that's a good one, like raw cane.
I wouldn't say that,
but
I like that.
The other thing too is I just strictly use agave as a sweetener, mainly because it won't spike your sugar levels. You know, like the way it actually enters into the sugar enters into your bloodstream is a much, I can't think of the actual technical term for it, but it's a much slower process than if you were taking like honey or you were just taking like regular white sugar.
That's why it's good tequila go down so good. That's really why.
Agave.
It
go down.
Well, it's based off of agave. So it is the agave plant that it comes from completely. So it's those sugars and everything that. Yeah, man, that's why you feeling happy as hell. You move around a little bit, now it's gonna be good. You just
it don't give you that. It don't give you the same sugar rush.
You gotta know how to drink too. Be civilized. Have some water. I think even Lil Pump did that and stopped everybody at the fest. Everybody doing drugs, drink some water. For real, I don't want you dying in my crowd. Right? Like, hey, that was the realest shit I ever heard him spoke. Hey, it's weird when you get wisdom from, you know what I'm saying, people you don't expect. Like I was telling them, I was seeing some little clip with what's his name, Riff Raff.
Oh yeah.
When they asked him a question like, if I make it, like, do I drop my girl because she ain't all that and shit? He's like, you expect him to say something stupid? He's like, it seems like you settled and you're fucking up somebody else's life by not letting them live their life because you settling on a person. I'm like, damn, that shit truthful as fuck. Like, you don't expect certain people to give you knowledge, just point blank. I learned something from him. Not learn, but like
CT plays a character. But yeah, I do love that argument. See, I've never heard anyone put together those two pieces like that. It's usually always a humane thing or some other thing involved.
Yeah, and these are animals.
Yeah. I mean, no. I mean, not so. No, I will actually. So I actually do believe that anything that creates something for itself should be able to use it for itself. That makes perfect sense to me. But we do actually kill more bees what we do in our daily activities than what we would save them from not eating the honey that a lot of beekeepers are making. So,
if people don't eat honey, that is a hazard because right now,
symbiotic relationship.
No, it's because big companies don't want bees in their crops anymore. All the crops, major crops that are grown here that we eat are unisexual. They don't need to get pollinated. They don't need them. As a matter of fact, the bees are just considered a pest. So what they try to do is they try to throw off the bees. That's why they're going away. But people that consume honey are making it so that people are keeping bees. You know what I'm saying? Alive. So that's really what's keeping it because it's that mass farming is taking over everything. Something could be labeled organic. But at the end of the day, the ways our laws are set up, that doesn't have to be the truth. They don't even have to tell you where it really comes from. You know what I mean?
But yeah, no, I think that was a good argument. So like, you know what I mean? Like, I do like thinking about the pros and cons because my whole point of even saying that is because some people always think, and I didn't think you would even, I know you researched out. I saw your journey. That's what I'm saying. Like, some people don't research and know it's like, oh, this is that because of that. So did you research the pros and cons of it? You're doing, or did you just research the pros? You hear one article about it, and you're like, it's good. People should think about that. It's like, because everything usually has a drawback, especially if we're getting things that aren't from our country and we're consuming them. So just know what you're doing. So like you can be conscious of what you are doing to the planet. I think that's really important. So I tell people that like imagine the macro all the way out to the planet and try to bring it into like your city and then yourself. You know what I mean? I feel like that helps you. Start from yourself and work out that way. It's like if I'm taking from over here, that'll replenish from over here. I don't know.
Everything got a consequence.
And I love that. It's in your music too. A lot of you know, well thought out concepts and everything. So without further ado, please take it away to the next track. I just wanted to put a little discussion in there for people.
Nah, it's all. I don't even talk about vegan, so it's always fun when I get a chance to.
There it is. See, that was another unique conversation because it wasn't one of those, I'm an extremist vegan, you're not an extremist vegan. You got a problem. You ever seen Scott Pilgrim?
I know when you talk. No,
vegan bust through the window, boosh. All right, both of you calm down and we'll take a throat to you.
Chicken parmesan is not vegan.
He said,
gelato's not vegan. Smoking eggs.
Dang. All right, so what's the next one? Okay, so I got this one joint that's I can play. Oh, I play this Exodus joint. That's the third joint on the track. It got a lot of energy, but it gets kind of soulful. Like it's a switch up. I don't know if y'all noticed. I like to switch it up.
So why don't you put Exodus at the end, like people do?
Well, actually, you know, the whole point of the Exodus was that it was the album concept was it's a new beginning.
Okay.
So I'm exiting out of the old that I was in. So it starts off with my mindset. It's called the beginning is hate. The beginning. I'm dealing with my issue. Then the second track is damn, because now I'm recognizing all of the issues. And then Exodus is me finally leaving out these issues, but now I'm embarking on something.
So you're not just gonna leave it to their imagination and show them how you came back.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm gonna make it out. So without further ado, I'll play this next joint, Exodus.
Exodus.
So you done? Is it worth it?
Yeah.
So you perfect?
Is this a recorder or is it the flute?
Don't think that you know what I've been through. Don't think that you know what I've been through. Don't act like you know what I've been through. I don't really care for the guys. I'm gonna look good from the outside. Easy to judge from a peripheral. Plain blood if you go kids, you can know this for the struggle with pain. I'm identical. See, you don't even know what I've been through. I'm the cold that I've been through. I've been cold in the wintertime. No heat, gas off, can't cook food. You ever try to write with the lights off? No energy. Can't beat the envy of my enemy or the enemy trying to enter me. In the dark, it's hard to find synergy. See the soul is far, so hope the whole part of the tool with ideas and conspiracies. This is my identity. At times feeling like God was gonna be. Look, you ain't no flip, so you had a witch right. That's where you get the woke, but can't move, but kind of what's around you. Ever had black folks around you? Red you in your face smiling. No matter how loud you scream or try to move, it's you telling just real close to the youth. You telling me it's real. On my mind playing game, look. I'm still but I always say, look. Suicide ain't always pray, look. Big times but I almost cave. Suicide thank God I ain't. Kill them but God I ain't. Don't pretend like who you see now is who I've always been.
Is it worth it?
Yeah.
So you perfect?
Nah.
Oh, I know you.
Don't think that you know what I've been through. Don't think that you know what I've been through. Don't act like you know what I've been through. I don't really care for the best cause you don't even know what I've been through. You don't even know what I've been through. Don't think that you know what I've been through. See, you don't even know what I've been through. You don't even know what I've been through. Don't act like you know who we've been through. I don't give a damn for the best cause you don't even know what I've been through. Be free. Be free. I just want to be free. I'm almost free. But something's gotta hold on. Something's gotta home on me. I just wanna be. What's the cost to get free? Trying to fathom the cost of being me. No matter living and live with my fantasy. Life ain't fair, prosperity is safe, but still I ain't there. I can't bear this pain on me. The shame on me changed from traffic to gold, but still hold the same train on me. Stuck in my mind, even if the thing ain't on me. So ashamed how it weighs on me. Feel like I'm wondering, can be wondering. There's one further direction on my place. A decision can be questioning my faith. But in my road, if I don't see change, what's the cost of being free? You couldn't fathom the cost of being me. Knowing exactly what I need for me to catch up. But the vicissitudes of life won't let up. Never fed up, never fed up. I've been hungry, God ain't fed us. Cause my man us, need that man up. But still want a piece of Americana. Not too concerned with the end results. All I really want is the end result. My careful, in my careful. Look, you don't even know what we've been through. But even after hearing our ask for, I still can't seem to let go. That heaven so easily set in, but damn, I ain't about to let go. Look, I'm trying to let go. Look, I'm trying to let go. Look, I'm trying to let go. I'm trying to let go. Be free. I'm almost free. But something's got a hold on me. Something's got a hold on me. I just want to be free. I'm almost free. But something's got a hold on me. Something's got a hold on me. I just want to be free. Almost free. Something's got a hold on me. Something's got a hold on me. I just want to be free. Almost free. Something's got a hold on me. Something's got a hold on me. I just want to be free. I'm trying to let go. Look, I'm trying to let go. I'm trying to let go. I'm just trying to let go. I'm just trying to I'm trying to let go.
That's man, that I love the journey of like the music because I feel like a lot of your songs have movements and they change and they grow. They might even like come back at times, but they literally there's a movement and there's a journey not just with the lyrics and with like you're telling the story. A lot of your songs have good storytelling too, which I feel like is missing in hip hop. It's an element that you tie into your music as well. It shows it shows that foundational hip hop thing. Because if you do some of those foundational hip hop things in the hip hop genre, it shows and shines very well. A lot of people don't believe that they do like the break rap, the like 2 words a bar, what? Sorry.
Nothing wrong with that shit. We've been rocking that.
We've been doing that all day, but it is a disconnect between the.
Matter of fact, another moment. Silence for the grind. Little grind.
Sorry, I had to do that one quick because it was espresso, so it's about this much. But that's why if I look like the Flash, the Black Flash.
You sound like you were talking about little titties or something.
I think they did have
They better have a Black Flash, and if y'all don't, I want to be the Black Flash. I want that movie deal.
Yeah.
Immediately. But yeah, there's movement.
But they make the yellow one black.
No, he's Nigga Flash.
No.
He's made.
Yeah,
He's made, man.
What's wrong with a good villain and shit?
Bro, because
Would you be okay with the Joker being black?
yeah, that'd be actually sick. He should have been black.
And what the?
He should have been black. If they were going to do that based off of that era, because they was trying to make black people evil and shit around that time, he should have been. Why was everybody in Batman white? I feel like white people wouldn't just be randomly crazy that time. There would have been a lot of like people of color, right? Because it'd have been like, Batman, why are you so rich and you ain't helping us? And this impoverished community over here is the one that somebody comes out. Why would it be? I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
Usually most of the villains got money.
That's true. That's what's throwing me off too. All the villains are rich in Batman. Everybody's just rich in Batman and still mad.
Everybody's superpower is.
I'm a lawyer. Oh, my face.
That's
hurt.
why.
No,
That's why he couldn't be. That's why he couldn't be a minority. Because any minority with all that money wouldn't be sad about no bets.
Right.
And shit anymore.
That's like. I would have shot the bat. It's like, wow.
As soon as you start wiping your tears with money,
right. Someone I know, that's a really cool person, likes Batman, and that's their favorite superhero. And there's nothing wrong with that because Batman is a very solid, very balanced I feel like that's a good superhero to go to because unlike certain, you said Cyclops?
Iconic.
Oh, iconic, and he is looked up to by all other superheroes in the DC universe. So I feel like he's like a godfather of superheroes. So you can't talk about superheroes and not mention him. He's a good guy, but I mean,
embodiment of white.
What's your favorite superhero?
My favorite superhero. So my favorite superpower
is Justin Fingers because he is animated, and there are a lot of animated superheroes. So make sure you catch that Double Mind music video.
Crazy, man. But my favorite superpower is speed, mainly because he can travel through time. So like, but the Flash isn't my favorite superhero.
Really?
Yeah.
You know, Marvel got options too.
Speed.
Yeah, they do.
But that's my
Quicksilver.
Yeah.
No, I'm not a big Quicksilver fan either.
Yeah,
like
no.
they did him up in the X-Men movies. I mean, he's not that fast.
Yeah,
He's not that fast. He's fast. He's not that fast. He doesn't get to see people lose in life.
Well, that's because he came out of the movies, man.
I know, but they over-exaggerated.
No, wait, Quicksilver
he
was
saved them
Avengers,
before the explosion of the house.
Yo, that
He's
was
not
Avengers.
that fast.
That was Avengers though. I'm happy for your card.
No, that was X-Men.
Nah.
No, when Quicksilver ran in the house, that was X-Men, bro.
Quicksilver not in it.
No, they ain't get him in there, bro. If they'd put him in the Avengers, that'd change the whole landscape.
I think he was still FX.
Wait,
at the time.
wasn't that the fast dude from Sokovia, the brother that died? Wasn't that
He was in that, but they never called him Quicksilver.
They just never called him that. But that was supposed to be
Quicksilver is supposed to be Scarlet Witch's brother, but they kind of like loosely tied that just to put Scarlet Witch in the movie because they didn't want to keep Quicksilver.
Man, that's Quicksilver. Stop fucking with me.
I know, but there's no Magneto,
Quicksilver
bro.
died.
But there's no Magneto, bro. So what are we really talking about? I was like, sorry, y'all got roped into that nerd. Sorry, we're gonna just bring it back.
I'm gonna say Static Shock. Static Shock is my favorite superhero.
Static Shock is actually underrated. So Static Shock young is really dope. Static Shock older is sick as fuck because he can do a lot more with just static electricity and move magnets. He can use it as magnets.
But isn't he black? Static Shock. And he was one of the first ones that was like made that way, like too.
Purposely made black.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking Black Panther.
Intentionally made black.
Well, he was actually his character was made outside of Marvel. They actually
DC,
and they outside of DC. They brought right. Like he's like he's a Young Justice now. He's like the successor to Black Lightning. Like it's just super dope. He need his own on-screen movie.
He does.
We went to that.
I think get too old. Yeah, I feel like they get Jaden Smith on.
Did you go to the Comic-Con when they had the new authors? The new
yeah.
When I got that drawing of what's his name, Wizard,
Doctor Strange. I think that's why that movie was just coming out.
Yeah, instead of signing, some geeks started just getting whole portraits done on their books like that they gave me.
I know, right?
He is that fast. He's just not fast, but I still feel like they did it up a little bit too much. Just a little bit.
Well, I don't put DC and Marvel in the same universe. That's the issue. Is that like you could fantasize and see who would win, but they're not in the same universe.
Let's talk about Quicksilver. You said if he's that fast or he is not as fast.
That's what you're talking about. But I mean, I don't care what universe we're in. Flash is.
Bro, he can run through time, bro. It's already done. It's already over with.
Speed don't matter anymore.
He runs on the Green Lantern's ring, bro. It's over with. Like, I don't even care what
Oh, the Wizard to catch his ass.
Bro, because he can move through space and time. That's different.
Yeah, exactly.
But the Flash.
He had to be ahead of where he was going to be at before he got there.
But you know he'll do
that. He would.
Doctor Strange will fuck all of them up. That's
I can't wait. So people been
they got into spirituality and all of that. So like he's unlimited. Like you went beyond what the human body, you know what I'm saying, immediately. So when you tie that into actual knowledge and everything else, I mean that's pretty unstoppable.
I don't know, man. The Flash can phase. Like
you can phase through solid objects.
He can phase through solid objects.
That's some insane stuff.
Like we talking about.
He can do surgery on people, bro. Did you know that without taking their clothes off? Do you see them do it in the show?
Anytime you see this happening, you're about it. This is it. What we talking about?
I don't know. I said nerds.
You talking about fucking Flash?
Yeah, I don't just rap. I like.
Over here with the Flash,
you
gotta make that shit a dance time.
And now we're in good company, so we can actually get up on this fool before he plays the next track. But my favorite superhero is probably, and I like people's backgrounds. I don't just like the powers and stuff like that. So I like the characters that make them up. I gotta do a few characters.
No, you gotta do one. Don't do that shit, Terry, because we all get one. Everybody gets one, like Spider-Man.
And it's Thanos then. And it's been Thanos for about 15 years. So it's Thanos. Nobody's, I'm sorry. Thanos is
favorite superhero is a villain.
He's actually a hero. He's an anti-hero.
So my favorite.
He can will Minonia, bro. He can will Minonia, bro. Pure heart. Argument. I don't know.
My favorite superhero.
I'm gonna just leave Minonia right here. I'm gonna just leave that. Just leave that right there.
Purity does not equal good. You can be purely evil.
Yeah.
That was the idea behind Thanos, is that he was true to himself. He was true to his mission. He was true to his purpose, and that's why he was able to do it. Now you don't have to be good, because you can be good, but still not fully be true to yourself and not be able.
That's true. And he did say I'll give you that.
Yeah, and he did
even though he did encompass the whole universe.
He wanted to kill half of the universe just
for what he thought
right. So
what he thought was right.
That's not a great.
I wish they would have went with that original thing.
The original. But it wouldn't have been. I mean, so many people talking about. They wanted him to seem as though he wasn't crazy. He wasn't maniacal. To make you want to, actually root for this guy. Because, like, man, he has a point. Could this be a better world? So that's kind of like what they wanted to. I think they did a great job.
They did. And I like the end sequence fight. They did a really good job of putting that together and showing off a lot of the new heroes are going to be coming up and then coming.
But it's nothing wrong with a villain being. That's kind of like Gar off of
Naruto.
One Piece Man, One Punch Man.
Oh,
the new
No,
I haven't seen season 2 yet.
That's not cool at all. I don't believe in that shit either. You can't all of a sudden come up with a superhero that could just kill every superhero. All of a sudden, no, there's gotta be a base. Like I keep hearing words like plant based. I'm talking about base. Like let's start somewhere.
You're not good at video games. That's what his weakness is. He can't win video games. I love One Punch Man, dog.
Yeah, because he does his push-ups every day. Get the fuck out of here. I don't want to hear about that. We just talked about Thanos and a person that goes back in time. Like, why the fuck are we talking about a dude that gets bored because he can't punch a person more than one time? Don't get into my universe at all. You were like,
he's too great.
But it's like, okay, Dragon Ball Z went far too, bro. They were like, all right,
how the fuck
we need to expand our universe. We need to expand our universe.
It's based off of a
destruction gods.
It's based off of actual like gods and stuff in certain cultures, especially in Asian culture. Like we compare Goku to the monkey god and exactly. So,
but you're not.
But that's what I'm saying. That's an origin. That's like at least a base. One Punch Man does his damn push-ups and his regular ass workouts.
You're not tired of the struggle porn? You're not tired of seeing Luffy get beat up every time just to somehow overcome it? Or to see Naruto struggle? To see Goku struggle every time? No, I just want you to come in there and whoop some ass. Just come and whoop some ass.
Hey, that's a good segue. Hold on real quick. That's a good segue for me to get to my superhero. And it's been since growing up. And I got plenty too, but if I could pick one, it's fucking Wolverine. Now, there's plenty of reasons. Wolverine, of course, in comics, he got Magneto trump his ass, pulled his whole body out his ass. Like, one of the most gruesome, perfect images in the comic book is him getting his bones turned out. But for the most part, Wolverine always got the best out of somebody. Got the last laugh, was a straight asshole, but always looked out for his. You know what I'm saying? So that was the real value. He was a true asshole, but you know what I'm saying? He had loyalty. So, you know what I'm saying? You got to respect that regardless of what it is, because you're not here in this world to please everybody. But you know what I mean? You can look out for those, and that's vice versa. I mean, I get that a lot. A lot of music I've made is you know what I mean? You know how to move around people and why not to fuck with somebody, because you know they won't. At the end of the day, if you're in trouble, that's not a person you could go to. If that's not a person you could go to when you're in trouble, not because you're begging, not because you right away need something, but if you can figure that out, that's not a person, then why do you got that person around you? That person's not going to swing. He's not going to care. You know what I'm saying? Like, at the end of the day.
All right, Brother Mike, it's on you.
Favorite superhero?
We got Brother Mike up here in the back.
Lensack Productions in the building. Matter of fact, I'll give him a shout out too. If y'all need any videography or photography done,
you can be the original Beast. I don't mean that.
Make sure y'all follow them.
Original what?
Beast. X-Men's Beast.
Let me tell you who I really like the concept of.
but the execution was very poorly done. Shazam, who was, formerly known as
I didn't even watch that movie, but
I didn't see the movie because I didn't like how it looked.
Yeah, it was.
So the concept of it's like Superman, but with a good story.
Yeah,
I hate Superman.
Thank you.
It gave him too much.
Hey, Superman fans out there, sorry, there's none in this room at all.
Can't stand him in the Superman story.
He's okay. He's like it's like
Superboy better.
there you go. Superboy's way better
And I can respect that.
because he has a struggle that you can relate to.
You got to struggle.
Superman represents white privilege all over the world. What the fuck is wrong with everybody? I am the best at everything. Who?
You getting shot in the eyeball. You know what I mean? I can't relate to that.
But yeah, I think.
I can.
So what do you like about Shazam that makes him
kill you with my
stand
stare?
out, like-
As a child, it's relatable because you can see yourself in a position to do something that has superpowers, or if you can. And then you have all the concepts of where he gets these powers from, the inspiration.
Yeah.
He gets
So
attributes from different characters.
So it's a little different than like Spider-Man in that way, because Spider-Man is just from a spider. You know what I mean? So
Radioactive.
yeah, radioactive.
Wait. It's a radio.
Don't go out there trying to get bit by spiders, kids.
Especially radioactive ones who's going on there.
It was a spider, bro. I don't care how radioactive it was. It could have been a piranha. It could have been a damn snake. That would have made sense. But no, they made it a fucking insect that carries all this DNA. Point is, it's a damn spider. His name is Spider-Man. It is not Ragnar. It is Spider-Man. Like, he was bit by a damn spider. And I get what you're saying when you can draw sources and it's like, that's power. Or, like, you know what I mean? Like, it comes from somewhere. Spider-Man got bit one time. He got bit one time. He didn't recharge. He didn't go looking for that spider and say, right back. You know what I'm saying? He didn't do none of that shit.
DNA. He lived for life, bro. So yeah, it got changed in a DNA.
Yeah, even DNA has to restore itself. That venom didn't have to restore. That's one dose of venom.
If you get a mutation, it then will continue to just replicate like any other molecule. So it continues to replicate in the alter version. That's the beautiful thing about genetics. That once
Well, the horrible thing is that's also one of the main reasons why he suffered as a character. Remember when he started growing the arms and everything because it kept multiplying. So my whole discussion just shrunk. But
Are you saying you don't like Spider-Man?
no, I love Spider-Man, but it's still one spider. I'm just saying.
Wait a minute. There's a lot of holes in
You know what? But Ninja Turtle was the same way. Lizard was the same way, I guess.
There's a lot of characters that sometimes you're just like, but yeah. Anyway, Brother Justin,
How many kids
to
you think
finally
purposely
play
got
that
bit
track
by a
for
spider
us?
because of that?
Brother Justin, would you like to play?
Run it up.
Yes,
Y'all ready to hit it?
Run it
Are y'all
up.
ready to hear Run It Up? Are y'all ready? Are y'all ready? Are y'all ready? We are actually about to talk about Run It Up.
This is the world premiere.
World premiere.
Damn, Terry, get out the way and let
No.
the famous get on this fucking track.
Wait, I'm typing in the name of the track.
Boom.
It's actually the world preview. Because it's still premiering
Oh
Friday.
yeah, it's not out. It's
Not out yet.
It's a preview.
So if y'all like what y'all heard so far, y'all can go check that out. You can follow me in the link. It's gonna take me to a hyperlink. You can go here, wherever you can download stuff at iTunes, Apple, Tidal, all that good stuff. This you gotta wait till Friday. But at least right now, if you here with us,
Famous Fridays.
Famous Fridays, baby, we back. Famous Fridays all summer long.
So if you want to hear it again before that day, you have to like listen to this.
You gotta watch this.
But it ain't the same. You gotta get that track on Friday.
I say y'all ready?
Yeah.
Ready, Mike? All right, here we go.
Here we go. Sick of playing nice, I'm run up the score. Applying pressure all year, starting at full court. I need big game, so we move away. Hit you with a side step if you in the way. No need to play. Never been a lane, boy, these legs, there's nothing. Man in my city, yeah, so you know what they starting to heat up shots. Them boys running, calling for a timeout, cause it ain't nothing in. You can't ice me, dog. I'm so hot, environmentalists don't like me, dog. Trust, it's just not another like me, dog. It's one hell of this It's the try right here off. Yeah, acting, no time to relax. When you better get you just know you gotta put your max in the room with your average. Or else you gon' get dubbed. When you're so bad that you gon' fix up. Cause now we can play nice time to run up the score. Applying pressure all year, starting at full court. I need big game, so we move away. Hit you with the side step, you win the way, Cause now we can play nice time to run up the score. We can play nice time to run up the score. We can play nice time to run up the score. We can play nice time to run up the score. Say like rolling dice, but it's automatic. Ain't no mic, boy, I gotta give a fuck about chance. Cause I'm ready to get there, shit, you know I gotta play it up. You wasn't really shooting in the gym, and I swear I'm gonna go like 100 from the field. Saying like I turn it in the field, gotta burn it in the field, get it burning, you will kill. Tighten you up, if you tripping, get your slip better. Jump, my clicks, pop will make you moment. Fresh with it, shake your money, make the shots up. Deny my brain is all, did you for real? You're like slow to act the edge, you know how does it feel to be the coke man? But they act slow man, like I don't deliver, let alone in the post man. Try not to gloat man, they give it to the old man. But it's getting old man, time I go for broke man. Cause I'm playing nice time to run up the score. Applying pressure all year, starting at full court. I need big game, so we move away. Hit you with the side step, you win the way, Cause I'm playing nice time to run up the score. Playing nice time to run up the score. Playing nice time to run up the score. Playing. I try to be me, but I'm starting to feel that type of behavior won't let to be getting no meals. The baby down with 500 crime, this is a meal. It's the only way to survive is still to be on one of these road. Look, I just got a different sense of urgency, cause it worries me to think I could be setting my kids up to do worse than me. And that just won't work for me. So you damn right, I'm sick and tired. Yeah, I'm sick and tired of playing games. So all summer I'm kicking ass till I'm taking names. Look at my drive, picking up all lanes and increasing my range. So word of advice, just get out my way. Cause I'm playing nice time to run up the score, run up the score, run up the score. I'm playing nice time to run up the score. Applying pressure all year, starting at full court. I need big game, so we move away. Hit you with the side step, you win the way, Cause I'm playing nice time to run up the score. Playing nice time to run up the score. Playing nice time to run up the score. Playing nice time to run up the score.
Sports.
To the game. So, two things. I do now think you should definitely submit that to some 2K. Nobody take that idea.
Yeah, nobody take my idea.
Yeah, the world, that's listening.
But yeah, no, definitely. It has that.
Unless you are EA Sports, then go ahead and contact this man real quick.
Please hit him up. It definitely has that drive and feel in the song. It has that, because I think a lot of the songs they usually put in the game either have like some kind of like, you can like nod to it, or you have that.
It's a shit you can repeat and like,
yeah, the grind
like
feel. Yeah.
your brother be playing this shit and the song, you wake up singing this shit and you ain't even hear it consciously once. Playing this, brush my teeth, God.
But yeah, another, I do like. I think the elements of that song. So there's the part I would think of is more like what is that like? Not like the down south production. I'm trying to think. It's fused too though, because it has, I feel like it has some funk in it with how the bass is played and and how that's kind of going the cadence and that. I think you make the lyricism on that like not stupid, but you have it like it's dumbed down purposely because it matches the.
It's got an OVO kind of sound in a way, but it's not dumbed down like you're saying. That's the beauty of it, and it's got stuff in there that means stuff. First of all, I'm a big fan of anthem type music. You know what I mean? It's like clear anthem music. You know what I mean? You gotta try too hard to figure it out. It's just a feel. You know what I mean? Drake used to do that really wonderfully. Like, you know, Successful, certain tracks like that where you just spoke on like those. You know what I mean? Anthems. It had nothing to do with anything except motivation, and this is a motivation song. You know what I mean? But it's done well, and it's got its humble aspects. Yet the whole point is it's not humble. You know what I mean? Like, I'm tired of doing that shit. So this is gonna work because people depend on it, and a lot of people, you know what I'm saying, can relate to that. So
it's got a lot. Like I said, it's got that sports feel where it's commercial in that way, and it's got that humble feel where it's like people understand where you're coming from. Trey. I feel that.
My favorite part is definitely the breakdown section because that's when it like kind of flips it and it goes into like the production changes and it gets more in depth. And you're like, this is why I'm sick of it. You know what I mean? This is why I'm sick of it. This is what's on the line for me and like the other side of me not putting in this effort into the line. So that's why I love that because I'm like, I was listening, I'm like, man, we need got more depth in it. Just the words like, oh!
Oh, yeah. Originally you think you're going to get a Drake type
the whole way through
quality, you know what I mean? Yeah. And to be honest with you, that would have been a big letdown. And that's just off the initial.
Caught us back in. It's like it's you showing your diversity too within that. You're like, all right, cool. Like I can still do. I can mix a lot into what I can tell my story.
No, and again, it's anthems. It's a great anthem, and like I said, it could have gone a bad way because it's a great sound, and I'm glad to hear that sound get done right. You get what I'm saying to that point where it's not like corny or commercial. And it's no disrespect, everybody's got their lane, but I'm not a fan of corny, not a fan of commercial. And when I hear something that sounds like that, even if I might not know to not be, that's what I related to, and I can't really, like, you know what I mean? As much as I do, it's just because one of those things where it's Barney. You've heard it so many times. Yeah, I know I love you, you love me. Doesn't mean I like the damn song. I mean, it's in there, and you made it go in, but like, I don't respect the quality of it. And you got a good quality in music, you know what I mean? So, anthems, you gotta make anthems.
How long have you been producing?
I've been producing that forever. Like, I legit been making like songs since I was in like second grade.
When'd you make your first beat?
The way I made my first beat, I want to say I was 9 years old. And it was like on a piano that my mom had bought, and I was just playing it, and like it would allow you to record. Did like different multiple tracks.
We didn't ask you where you from. What side of the city?
I'm like West Side Maywood.
Okay, yeah. Man, that's still Chicago, man. You get the police act just like Chicago police out of Maywood.
Nah, for real, nah, yeah. It's
a little worse sometimes.
It ain't the picket fence suburb, but you know I love it. I mean, but I spend most of my time. I let my brother in the streets. Like I was in the crib producing, writing. Watching Discovery Kids, like that. That was my thing. So I legit been producing.
At least you grew up around Discovery Kids. We had straight up History and Discovery Channel.
Yeah, that's it.
Discovery Kids.
Yeah,
Animal Planet came out right when. Yeah, man.
Oh yeah, the top 10 package. Okay, that's nice.
I
like apples. I don't know why.
I do too. I still haven't seen one Discovery Kids network.
Prehistoric Planet is crazy. It's amazing. Yeah. Okay, but I've been because I get caught up.
I got grown lies told to me on Discovery and History Channel.
But no, I've been producing ever since. I went from recording it on the keyboard to when I got a cell phone in like 6th, 7th grade. I started using the auto recorder to put it by the piano speaker and just rap into it. That's how I made my first song, sending them to friends and everything. And I finally ended up getting an audio keyboard. And
so nobody put you around it. You put yourself around it.
I had to immerse myself in it, and I think that was.
I feel like your parents gave you an outlet to a certain point, but it's like my inspiration was off other people. Like if anybody were to ask me where I started coming up with music, it's just from hearing the same people I was with starting to make music, and that happened really, really early. So like I went around people and started basically doing what I was doing before that, and it just stuck to me to where like. You know, I feel like a lot of people had to have that, but for you to do it off of your own, that takes a lot more discipline. You know what I mean? That's discipline compared to just chilling. You know what I'm saying? And that's most people just do it that way.
And that's honestly a big reason why I even like started to produce. Like I don't like being an engineer. Like that's not my thing. I don't do that for a trade or anything. It's just I had to.
Because nobody else is going to do it.
I couldn't afford to.
Price is too much. For y'all that don't know, when y'all hear our music, man, forget. I'm not even going to put this in just music. When you see an artist's work, please know they put hundreds of thousands of dollars possibly into that end product. Even if you're like, oh no, well that videographer just recorded it. Guess how much that camera costs? Guess how much that program costs, that laptop costs, their lighting costs, their editor that they got to send the post to. Oh, that's just one song. It couldn't have cost that much. They got to pay the producer if they ain't got one, the audio engineer if they ain't got one, the singer if they get somebody featured on there if they ain't got one. It's a lot of work that goes into the person making the art, the manager. There's a lot that goes in it. It's the distribution. Y'all, when y'all paying for it, so if we just asking $1, man, give us the motherfucking dollar.
We appreciate it.
But yeah,
Man,
it's $1 for real.
How do we go from that, from him learning on his own?
Well, as we get back
Public
to
service.
No,
Hey, high five to you. Just
Yeah.
fucking high five. Fuck everything else for doing that for yourself. Because you know what I'm saying? That's what I meant. That's what I was getting at. Is that you tried everything from scratch. You know what I mean? And it's hard to do that. You know what I mean? And I can honestly say most people I know did it around crowds. It's something that they, you know what I mean? They ended up liking because people reacted to it. You know what I mean? So I feel like the rare artists are the ones that do it without anyone around them. You know what I mean? So it's really hard to do that, but it's also really rewarding too because you really didn't do anything because somebody asked you to.
Yeah.
Or you didn't try something; it came out of you.
Yeah, I love it, and it's the good thing is like the one bad thing, of course, you don't build that natural camaraderie and that team that can be around you. But now I'm at a point where I'm ready to like kind of start outsourcing stuff.
And you could because
you know everything you can ask for. This is literally why I accept it. So
Yeah.
even though you self-taught yourself, it's great to see that because you put the same amount of work ethic in that I did when, you know, I wouldn't want to mirror myself in this, but I had formal training. And it's awesome to see that because in my eyes, that takes way more discipline. Having somebody say like, oh, you know, I think you should wear these multiple hats because it'll benefit you. You were like, nah, I gotta wear these multiple hats because I got to. They said that and I'm like, okay, I see it. But I saw the opposite side of that. So many of my classmates like, bro, I'm not about to learn nothing about audio engineering, but I'm a drummer. I don't care about that. And it's like, well, you kind of gotta learn that because don't you want your drums to sound like amazing drums? You know, like you want to be able to tell the producer or the audio engineer what to do. So that's what dope. So like I said earlier, like make sure y'all give people love for their art and their artistry. You know? Any upcoming performances people can get you at, brother?
Man, I'm actually trying to get all of the music stuff together. Me and my wife just moved. So once we get this out, we get the EP done and everything.
You moved out of Maywood?
Yeah, I'm in High Park now.
He's in High Park.
That's what's up, too.
Yeah, we about to bump into each other at the Whole Foods, man. He was like, man, don't get that cheese, get this one. I know
What's
most
with this
people
fucking
get cheese.
Hyde Park migration though? Like I've seen like 12 people I know go to Hyde Park in 3 months.
That is
It's
right.
like
It's
really?
pretty much the new Black Wall Street.
It is. So there's a lot of black businesses and black young people moving there. It's a nice artsy space there. I think we're re-gentrifying the neighborhood.
Great.
Ouch.
Well, talking about gentrification and
Ooh. So we're gonna segue to our discussion topics, but before we do that, Brother Justin Famous, where can they follow you at? I posted his name several times in the thread up there. Make sure y'all follow him.
But I'm gonna say it again because repetition breeds perfection, and that is at JUSTINFAMOUS_ Justin Famous _. You can check me out. That's on Twitter. That's on Instagram. If you want to just cash out me some money, I'm just playing out. Buy the song. Just buy the song.
I don't know, man. No, I'm not coming at no women's next, man, but a lot of women be doing that on social media. So I feel like we should do that.
that's because they got premium
Hot Boy
Snapchat.
Summer, baby.
They
It's Hot Boy Summer 2019,
He's
right?
Hot Boy Summer. Hey.
Hot Boy Summer, baby. Nah, but look, follow me. The single's gonna be out on Friday, and if you don't even want to pay for it, streaming does put money in my pocket. Share with a friend. Add it to a playlist. Y'all don't understand how important playlists are. Spotify, Tidal, Apple, whatever it is. If you love what you hear, if you love the old stuff, put it on a playlist. Play it every other day. Let it run. That's super important. And it just telling somebody about me. That's also super important. So I appreciate that. Justin Famous _ Again, that's Justin Famous _
One more time, 3 times.
Justin Famous _
Hit a stick.
There you go, baby. You got
There it is. And now we're gonna go over our discussion topics for the last, like about 5 minutes, 10 minutes of the show. So we're gonna start off. I think we have a residential expert on immigration. Brother Impact is gonna start off the discussion on the census and how they're deciding. Well, Trump is trying to push to have that you have to add your citizenship if you are a citizen of the United States or not on the census, when normally it's like given to citizens, so they don't, it's like redundant for them to ask.
So this isn't an immigration case actually, but it might tie into just why I feel like South American and people of South American origin have been attacked so much recently. I think it's because no one is saying it, but I think we're already the majority. That's the only reason I could think they're trying to hide numbers, personally, because what they're doing is they're saying you have to tell somebody if you're a legal permanent resident or a citizen. First of all, that's your civil liberty. They can't go to your door and ask you all this information. You don't have to tell them anything because this is your home. You know what I mean? Whatever, they don't have a warrant to do so. But they want to do this federally, which kind of seems militant, what they're doing, mobilizing against people like that. But it's also, people are not going to open those doors. They're not going to be counted. And again, the only reason I think they would want to not count South Americans and Mexicans is because our numbers are really, really high. And I think they're higher than what people were predicting they would be. And I really think that that's the issue right now, why they would do something in that manner, where all of a sudden it's a quick change. It's already, they've already, basically the news establishment just put out all-out war against anybody who has immigrant status. They try to change things for people that have already been here and done things legally.
The thing is, that's why I was like, it's weird for them to do that, because now we're in a space where if you are someone that has a visa, you could be a student living somewhere, you could be someone living here, working here for a certain period of time, or you could have a certain visa that permits you just, to be doing the type of work you are and go home or whatever. But it's like, now you're under scrutiny or pressure to say, hey, should I do this? Now you might be at work, and so you work with someone, it's like, hey man, you did your census, right? And it's like, because there's some jobs people just talk about stuff like that openly at work, because they push you to do that. So it's like, no, I didn't. It's like, well, why didn't you? It's like, well, I felt uncomfortable because I didn't want to talk about my residency here as a citizen of the United States.
But I'm talking in a deeper aspect. Like, if you really think about right now how they're coming down more on.
Those are reasons. I was saying, like, those are reasons why they might not want to do it, but there is a larger issue. They would have larger voting power. The moment people that are South Americans, if they realize they outnumber every other person in here, that becomes another demographic that can control political power as far as popular opinion.
Let me actually touch this from a different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
I think the perspective you're taking from that, they could potentially be afraid that Hispanics or South American Latino Hispanics might be in a majority. I don't think we're quite there yet. I do think that clearly when you add in undocumented immigrants that have come in, there is a higher number than the 13.5 that's represented right now. But I still don't think we're getting to that point where they tap into the 60% that non-white Hispanics still take up. But this reminds me actually of...
Well, the whites actually are only at like 35% as far as like population. They never really went, they're still Hispanic, Black, Asian, every other...
Well, no, according to the last census, I think it was back in 2006, 17 years, so in 2010, the numbers show non-Hispanics at 2%, and non-Hispanics and non-Hispanic whites. And then if you include Hispanic whites, it jumps up to like 70%. So that's still like where the numbers are. If you look at it right now, you check it out. But this actually reminds me more so of the 3/5 number. Because if you think about, at the time, the reason why the reason they wanted slaves to be 3/5, it was actually wasn't the South or the Confederate. They wanted them to be counted as one person. And the North wanted the slaves to be counted as nothing, because they said that slaves had no voting power and it was supposed to be one vote per person. So this is the same type of argument that the Republicans are making. They're saying, well, hey, all of these undocumented immigrants now, they're actually populating in left or liberal cities, which are now giving inflated numbers as far as, voting power or population to liberals, giving them more seats on state senates, federal representatives. And they're saying, well, look, these people shouldn't be counted because they can't have a vote. So now if undocumented people don't sign up, they don't come to the census, there's going to be a lot of money now that these states don't get because they don't have the population. There's going to be a lot of seats now that are going to be brought back as far as representation, because that's what they want to do. They want to say, hey, look, even though these people are here, even though they are a part of the society, even though they are taking or putting into the community, because they aren't documented, because they don't have a vote, they shouldn't then count towards the actual voting population.
I'm not going to speak for Hispanic people, but if they're putting in work effort that is like at the but blue collar work that is necessary in this country for our development or our sustainability, I don't think that we get the right to say that they're citizens, because without the presence, we won't maintain as a country. I think that's the argument.
And the truth is,
but I agree with you. That is definitely the conservative argument, because I hear it very. I'm like,
I mean, this forget the argument, because I'm not making it.
No, it's not.
I'm saying this is the motivation. The motivation is
I get you.
we are losing.
But listen,
because Republicans.
Now, what's the funny thing, though, the ironic thing is, if you actually look at voting lines, Hispanics in the last 2018 election, not even 2016, voted 35% to 60, 35 to 65% red and blue. Whereas blacks, right, us, I don't like the word black, but us, right, we voted 2% to 98%. So documented Hispanics actually are more conservative across the board than any other minority when you actually look at it. So funny enough, that's
what's curbed the Florida election.
Yes,
that's really curbed it.
If undocumented immigrants, particularly ones from South America or Central America, if they had a path to citizenship, they had access to a lot of rights. Most of them are business owners. Most of them are homeowners. Most of them are Catholics.
No, actually, let me correct that. A lot of them are renters. Initially, that's a boost in the economy itself. Latinos and Hispanics really do rent at a very high rate, and then eventually own. But they get taxed in most ways. You get what I'm saying? So a lot of people, Latinos, have a problem with being called illegals, but the government takes taxes from their checks. So shouldn't that be illegal for you to take money from somebody who shouldn't be here, who's committing a crime? See, the biggest injustice to most people is that crossing illegally, just coming over without permission, has a bigger weight than DUIs, has a bigger weight because it has permanent bars, things from completely stopping you from becoming a resident or a citizen if you enter more than one time illegally. Yeah. So there's ways if you've entered one time illegally to fix that. Well, how ridiculous and outdated is that law? That way, you went over that border one more time and came across, and that's why you can never do it. Not because you, as you know, they paint are criminal and everything else. It's literally because you crossed the line two times. You're permanently forever barred, no matter what the contribution is, no matter what you've done here, what you haven't done here. That itself is the silliest law to me. You know what I mean? That act itself to be a permanent thing. And I think that that's what most Latinos that want to fix, that are contributing, that have families, that have had jobs and maintain jobs this whole time. Because you represent people who fix legally. You know what I mean? That's their biggest barrier. That's the real wall right there. It's coming in more than one time legally, because there's no coming back from that.
Okay, so I want to get your perspective. What do you think?
And I want this to be the last little piece because we do got 2 minutes.
Cool. Yeah. What do you think the main?
And real quick, I respect what you said about the votes. Yeah. First and foremost, because that is.
Appreciate you being a well-read young brother.
I like
for sure.
What do you think the main incentive? So I'll make a quick point since you want to the last point, and then I'll ask my question. So my main thing is I actually I was speaking on like a path to citizenship because I was going to say that to Republicans it would actually make more sense if they were more so concerned about voting power to actually create a path to citizenship
because it would make them more conservative. You're right.
They actually would tend to lean more conservative than they would actually suspect. Mm-hmm. And that would be a huge boost to the economy, especially to federal taxes or whatever and all of that. But what I want to know, because I wouldn't say we are for open borders. We should have a border. We should have a legal passageway entry so that people can come in. But what do you think the biggest incentive, not even incentive, but that could cause such a desperation to where people feel like coming over illegally is the only way to get into this country? Like, what do you think, or not even think, it sounds like you have an actual perspective. You might actually know what someone might have dealt with. What can be motivating someone to not want to go in through the legal passageway, but have to come not just one time, but multiple times to try and get back up?
That thirst of you can actually find a job here that sustain your family, you yourself. And again, it might be renting, which is a big upgrade from. See, back in the day, it was just to get more money because this is the line of opportunity. It hasn't even become that lately. It's the struggle with a lot of most cases that you see that I've heard of, especially recent, has to do with the violence going on in these countries. These countries, the violence itself is driven by drugs solely. Drugs are controlled by this government, and I don't want to get into no conspiracies or anything like that, but this Air Force has an eye on every inch of all the Americas. You know what I mean? They control everything because they can see everything that's going on. So I feel like that's it's just like gangs here in Chicago. They got systematically shut down, all the heads got cut off at the same time so everybody could run wild and have anarchy within the gangs. You know what I mean? Well, they did the same thing where, you know, in these countries, not just Mexico, they built infrastructures that sustain themselves where people could pay stuff. And even though it was illegal and it was a crime, things ran with a lower mortality rate. But when you start cutting these heads off, everybody's competing because they know that money is going to be there. You know what I mean? And I feel like that the people have been, in not just in Mexico, in South America in general. I've actually translated documents that talk about groups like the FARC and, you know, these militant groups that form and the way they hide stuff and the way they terrorize people, take anybody's property, their livestock, their businesses, rape people's family members in front of them, kill kids like with such nonchalance. Like, it's very desperate for a lot of people. Now, I'm not saying that's for everybody, but most cases that I've seen recently have to do with violence and people trying to get out of that. There's a lot of people right now that are just trying to fix because now they're scared because they think that it's going to close up a way to fix point blank. But I'm talking about those big numbers of people coming through because of that violence. It's real threats. These people have really nowhere to go. Cartels and these gangs are a countrywide thing. You know what I mean? Sometimes they cross the borders because, again, it's a drug thing. It's a thing from country to country. It's a real big business. So anything that threatens that business, anything that threatens that business is out immediately. You know what I mean? Because life is cheap down there. If you don't believe life is cheap, look at the mortality rates just in Mexico through the last 10 years. They beat all the Iraq numbers that we put up after bombing, after using planes to bomb places. Even after that, Mexico still's got more death. Just, it's a war. It's a real war that's hard to fight because it feels like the federal levels are even, you know what I mean? There's people in there. It's been infiltrated in every way. And Mexico's been historically always raped of its resources, and it's been done by its own leaders too. You know what I mean? Silver, for the most part, was taken out by a president called Fujimori, where like he personally sold a lot of it. You know what I mean? It's just been again and again. I feel like the land has been taken advantage of.
And that's why I was saying, not right, but I saw it.
And there's no opportunity there. There's a lot of corruption, and I'm not blaming completely the U.S. for it, but the biggest factor is the drugs and the cartels that came out of it. But Mexico's stagnant right now. They've had railroad tracks for who knows how many years. They've never put a railroad for people to take a train from one place to the other because they take so much money from building roads. You know, it's easy to funnel money like that with those type of systems. If everybody's moving at a slow pace, nobody's progressing, nobody's accelerating. Every big country that you know of, first they got subways, they had fast communication, they had people move fast. You know what I mean? And they're not able to. You know what I mean?
So you would say initially it's almost quasi-civil wars going on in these different countries where they're fighting amongst the gang heads, the corruption that's dealing with, the tops of the government, and people are actually escaping, seeking asylum for their life. They actually fear for their life. But then there are also people who have economic hardship that is so severe that their lives are also threatened. So, of course, the people that are really in fear of their lives, they have a way to get in through asylum.
But it's the hardest thing to fight, and it's one of the most expensive processes that there is. And usually those people have the less resources because they can't pay for these courts that they have to appear. They came in on asylum, meaning they have a court date coming up, meaning their family better have money. Well, guess what? These are people that got everything they had already taken from them. So they had to have somebody out here that is sustaining them as family.
Or else they gonna get sent.
Because they gotta get sent to somebody. You know what I'm saying?
So then this is I think, which makes the most sense, that you actually fund the courts. You actually pay lawyers to represent, asylum seekers if they're coming. I mean, you shouldn't have them happen. Even though they aren't citizens, once you step over and you seek asylum, you gain certain civil liberties. I would say not all of them, of course, but one of the huge civil liberties is that you don't have you have representation.
Yeah.
So it makes sense to have public defenders actually represent the asylum seekers so that we can speed it up, so we don't have detention centers that are overpopulated. And we can actually encourage people to come in legally because it's actually moving quicker. It makes more sense because it seems like from what you're describing, if I got economic hardship or I'm running because I'm fearing my life, the last thing I want to do is wait months until I can get a court date or until I can get approved through a lottery to get into, the country. And it's just kind of like this back and forth process. I'm damned if I do and I'm damned if I don't. So what I'm gonna do, because it needs to stand down moving. So I mean that's an interesting perspective. And hopefully they get money down there. Hopefully they actually can fund not the wall necessarily, but actually fund these centers. Actually fund pay the judges so they're not acting like assholes.
Well, I think that it's kind of optimistic to think that lawyers are going to do stuff. What I mean? They're going to fund so that people can get represented for free. I just think that certain ways that people get treated in general, there's a big talk about kids getting detained and having to, be on the floor with kids and eating.
Money will fix all of that. We have money to fund these detention centers. Kids got beds now. Kids have. And
should I be an asshole and be like, don't we have all these fucking FEMA camps that haven't been touched?
Well, I get those. In order to run those, you need funding though, and you got to go through bureaucrat. Like the way our system works, it's not like Congress signs something and it's just in. We have an administrative system where Congress signs in a law, and then the executive body actually now have all of these different organizations that have to now type it in, actually push it through. So if we can get funding to these areas, we can speed up a lot of the bureaucracy that actually gets in the way of humanity. Because I could want to help somebody as much as I want to. Like I see homeless people all the time that I want to help out, but I don't have anything. So I actually need the funds in order to take care of the people that I need to. These kids need beds. They need water. They need toothbrushes. They need to have a system where their parents can go through faster so they don't have to be separated from them for such a time. We need to have a system that can properly vet to make sure that these kids aren't being trafficked when they come over, and getting in the way of actual people that are seeking asylum, because then that's only going to make it worse and murky it up, for people that are actually coming. And again,
immigration has the numbers, first of all, to really process all these people and everything. As far as the detentions, they have more space than what they're doing with people. It's how they choose to section people off. They really do have enough immigration facilities to house all these people across the line in a more humane way. But this government makes it clear that they're gonna treat these people justly, and they're making it clear that it's their decision to do so.
Well,
and I don't think that they're denying it at all. So
last 2 points.
Yeah. And I'll say this much: I agree with you on that. I do think that and this is on both sides, left, right, Democrat, Republican. I think that both parties benefit from the chaos of the border. Democrats get this overpopulated group of people give them power without having to actually do anything for them because they can't vote. So they just have them there, but they don't have to actually make any of the conditions great, right? But then Republicans at the same time, think about who the biggest base of Republicans are. People that are overwealthy, people with big companies. Who do you think they hire them? And how much you think they paying them? They're paying undocumented immigrants, right? I've seen, and I work downtown at these different companies, I've seen people, you know, who can't speak any English, you know, get paid in cash, talk to some of these people that can't speak English, talk about how they don't get benefits and they're working harder than everybody else. Trump does not want this low wage, you know, low labor to stop coming in and coming. So I do think
it's almost like a free labor to a certain extent.
Yes. So there are two, but their interests are now butting heads because Democrats get more power, then Republicans are going to be others, and the Republicans, they want to be able to get that free labor, but at the same time, that free labor is also causing them not to get that much power. So now there's this battle of, okay, how much chaos do I want to create, but I also need to create some type of, you know, sensibility as well. And I think it's ridiculous and inhumane, and we should just this should be a bipartisan issue where we all come together and say these are people. There are, regardless of how many people are coming over that are just coming to just have a better life, but they aren't silent. There are people that are literally fleeing because they fear their lives, and we need to make sure that at least we need to allow 9 people who broke the law to go free if we make sure that one person innocent doesn't get locked up. That's the type of country that we need to be, where we care about the people that actually need our help. We need to put the money in there to make sure that they can come through properly and treat people like people.
And one last thing, like you said, is I find that to be real truthful too with the Democratic parties. They're quick to, well, what they mostly do is fight so that immigrants get left alone. That's really what they fight for, especially in the forefront like Chicago. Is, you know, oh no, they're not going to do that in our city. We're not going to check everybody, this and that. And that's great. That's a great defense. And it gives that impression. It's like somebody's jumping in the fight real quick. Hey, you're not going to hit this person. You know what I mean? I got this person. But it's not a solution like, I'm going to teach you Kung Fu. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just not really these leaders aren't coming up with solutions in legislation either. Again, the last thing that got put in was the DACA, which was a new process, the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, which was for the people that were under 16 that came in because their family brought them in, and they haven't had any criminal records or background. They've either completed or are still in a secondary high school or secondary school, you know, level. So if you meet all of those qualifications and literally have a squeaky clean record, then they're like, well, you can work here legally. You don't have any status or anything, but we're not going to act against you, and you can work here legally. We understand that this is just what you're doing, that if we send you back to your country of origin, you're lost. You're completely lost because you have no idea what it is to be out there. That was just humane. You know what I mean? Because you stranded these people. The administration actually put a stop to that program and scared the shit out of a lot of young people that were doing a lot of positive things that I've seen personally, because I was there since the beginning of it, since when the process started in 2012, when they introduced it. And I seen people with no confidence, scraggly, come in, you know what I mean, couldn't look you in the eye, to in 2 years, coming back after they've had their permit, they've got a car, they're just happy people, they're laid back. But it's such a big thing to see a young person get that chip off their shoulder, like, and just want to work. Nothing to the side of it, there's nothing wrong with that. And that person is getting taxes taken out of their check, which is supposed to sustain itself. Let's be realistic, the government doesn't spend money that it gets like it should. It's been taken away by every concept possible. I feel like I shouldn't add anything else, since I said, you know, but real good points. I really appreciate your perspective on everything.
All right, good discussion points. Excellent discussion. I think Congress should watch our show and come up with some solutions. We just gave y'all like at least 10. I'm not gonna say me, but just
no, we didn't. The main one. Come on, do something about that coming over the border twice thing. Like,
that's a little weird.
That's just as bad as stabbing somebody. Come on, man. Like, you stab somebody, you can't come over. I understand. You stab somebody. You fucking backcourt violation.
Yeah, Yeah, so we're gonna do a couple little quick more discussions, and then there's two more little things to go over. I just want everybody's first reaction. The next one is first reaction to Stranger Things. I know he's watched an episode. I think he watched the whole season. I've only seen one episode, so I guess
it is very strange. But you go ahead.
Dope, great character building. I mean, you end up. I'll kind of give a spoiler. Somebody important is going to die. So yeah, just look out.
Yeah, I think I know what that is.
You know what? You can't give any spoilers until a week after.
I'm not gonna spoil it, but
No, a week after we talk. Next week we're talking about this.
Straight up.
Baby
So be ready for
spoiler.
it.
Somebody important is going to die, and it's super important to the story. I think they did everything right. The nostalgia is really great. You get great 80s things, great where you get to see the kids deal with growing up through puberty, learning to like girls, and of course you get interdimensional monsters that go around eating and killing you. I mean, what more do you want? What more do you want?
That's everything.
Go watch it, man. You can't not watch it.
I know. What less do I want? I think it's weird that you're paying kids to make out with each other. I think it's really weird, and I think it represents something that happens realistically. And it's like we're at a point where you can normally talk about where it's a thing where like you can actually see it and not question it. If that would have got played in the 80s, some of those scenes, there would have been a real big outrage. You know what I mean? And it's to a certain extent, it's hard because I get it. You want to have somebody be able to relate, but you literally are making kids make out. Kids, little kids.
I didn't think of it.
But I'm saying like it's where's the line drawn at? You know what I mean? When it gets that.
Sex is the line. That's my line. If they start having sex, that's when I.
In the intro levels, like basically, I know the murder.
Man, one of them kids did a don't touch me.
Yeah.
Did a blank man.
You want to portray teenagers having sex? They better be grown.
No. I mean, that's what I'm saying. That's the thing. Like kids wasn't. Anyway, my point is I find it very strange. Again, I feel like it's kids, and it's again. I've never had a problem with the LGBTQA+ community, but it's like kids are being targeted sexually, like in like to kind of like build what they think of sexuality out loud. And I feel like for a kid to think about that so early, it really stunts their development in life because that's such a big thing to try and grasp unnaturally, not as it happens, but as people are presenting it to you. So now it only falls in the hands of the people that are presenting it to you, and it's okay for them to teach you something without getting the authorization of a parent when it's still that child is still somebody's child.
That's why you need to talk to your kids.
Yeah,
let them know
most definitely.
Their anatomy,
educate them,
how it works, ask them about their feelings.
But don't let other people educate them.
Somebody else, it's okay. I mean, they gotta go to school, right?
Yeah, I get it, but
as long as that education doesn't stop once they walk through the door, they'll be all good. Talk to your children, speak with your children, make sure you question your children. A lot of kids go through big silence. Trust your children if they say something's happening. Okay, if that's your favorite cousin, or your best friend, or your boyfriend.
Because that's your child.
Yeah, because I mean, like you said, I don't know if you're religious or spiritual, or whatever.
Yeah, of course.
There is, as far as morality goes, there's a lot going on that contradicts the morality that I prescribe to. But I would never try and suppress anybody from expressing themselves how they want to express themselves. So if people want to put out a certain image, they want to show it, you can show it good, at least it's being exposed. So at least now I can speak to the people I speak to, I can speak to myself, I can speak to my wife, and we can actually talk about what this means, talk about how it feels. Because everybody has an agenda. Everybody, we got a black agenda, sexual agenda, Hispanic agenda, immigrant agenda, Christian agenda. Everybody has an agenda. Everybody has a message we're trying to push. It's good to be in a marketplace of ideas. And everybody should, just like the LGBT community want to showcase their image, Christian community should be able to showcase their image. And we can have that marketplace of ideas where people can decide for themselves what makes more sense, what seems more moral,
But do you not feel like there's a dominance in what is immoral?
Let's not get into
Being,
that. It's gonna make the conversation.
I know. I'll quickly
Really
answer.
quickly. Okay.
I think the answer is yes and no because of the type of people who have their hands on the machine right now. There is a culture within Hollywood, you know, and there is a type of person that goes into that field. But when it comes to in your home, that is where the biggest dominance is. Period. You know what I'm saying? So regardless of what's going on out here, you will always have your child's ear at the end of the night. You'll always have your husband, your wife, your brother, your sister here, and your best friends at the end of the night. That's why we have conversations so that we're always open and we can really be able to decide for ourselves what makes the most sense. And as long as everybody, we don't want one group being out there and then trying to stop somebody. So we want LGBT to be out there.
Yeah.
We want the Christian perspective to be out there. Everybody should be heard.
Yes.
Everybody should have their images shown so that we can decide for ourselves which one makes the most sense for us.
I like that response. I ain't got nothing to say. I was just gonna say, Stranger Things was kind of cool. I'm ready for the rest of the episode.
And I just wanted to say as a parent that I still feel like I completely agree with you. Not everybody has the sometimes luxury to completely be there as much as, say, a classmate or school is and stuff like that. So I find that to be a big control in what kids are learning, and it used to be more curriculum, but now people teach you more things socially. It should be more employment based or business career based, which is where really I fail to understand the system itself. But no, it's a thing where like things are getting taught a lot more socially, and I don't think that the conditions have gotten any worse. Bullying in person is still, I feel, way harder to deal with. And excuse me if I offended anybody who's gone through anything on online or anything else. But I feel like, you know what I mean, those are some of the things that you have to face every day and do build you is those threats that are in your face. And that's what kids really deal with, is things that are in their face. And like I said, I don't think it's gotten worse because of the computers. I think that people are being heard more, and then some people are just putting a spin on it because they know they have people's ear. You know what I mean? So it's really hard to balance that, but it's just would make more sense to me, again, if it's a child, if at least a cutoff point, maybe 12, 13, if sexuality isn't pushed in your face. Just sexuality, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if I understand if media, if Stranger Things does it, if things like that do it, but why does the school have to do that? Put another program in there for again, something business oriented, a trade, where you teach kids build up that way. That way they have things to really concentrate on.
That's a whole other topic right there. We can go
Yeah.
for another hour and a half
Most
talking about that.
And I would, so I will tie it a little bit since I'm not going to have any intellectual comments on Stranger Things. But I will definitely say, as far as like the primary learning center of any person's life is their family, their immediate family unit, whether that's their mom, dad, or some grandparents or whoever that is influencing them in their life. Like I said, at the end of the night, at the beginning of the day, that's who it is. Even if you're getting information between that time from school, work, or like I guess a religious place of worship. Any of those centers you will get influenced, but you can always come back. Hey, my teacher told me this. Is that my friends or my coworkers said this? Is this true? Pastor or priest or priestess or however we may have you, I'm not sure the type of people, but they said this. How does that relate to us and as a family? What have we done traditionally in our family? You'll get those, you'll get those messages and information.
And let's not act either like this generation. Like I will say this generation does like spoil the kids more than any, but I won't say that they've really put in the time that I feel like a lot of other generations before us,
A lot of time.
very recently have, and I think it's again has to do with the culture and self-idolizing and people wanting to stretch out their prime time in their life and live it up to where people got to a point where it's like I'm only in the work because you're struggling. You know what I mean? And yeah, I mean, one thing I've seen across the board is the workforce in entirety is a lot lazier than what it used to be. People complain about the dumbest shit,
There it is.
They
So,
complain about the dumbest
now
shit,
talking-
and I feel like we need to work harder as an entire
unit.
That's an argument that I don't really know. But talking about prosperity being in prime, and I think I kind of lost a little bit, but being in prime prosperity, I think you said something else like that. But being in limelight, I guess, kind of segue into the last topic we're going to discuss, which is the detainment of A$AP Rocky in Sweden for alleged assault. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, you see the video clip?
Flip my
Oh.
Well, but it's, you gotta say, I mean, I don't know.
He jumped on dude.
You're a
He like flipped his
He
ass.
kind of flipped it.
He did a. But
Yeah,
but
we watched before that though. They were being harassed.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there was assault before that.
no, dude swung on the actual bodyguard. Like he swung on him, and it's like they were telling him like, calm down, bro, like chill. Because originally it was said that those two people were harassing women, like, and they were like, hey, bro, chill out. You know what I mean? So it got to a point where like dudes were like, who the fuck you know what I'm saying, got in your face. Little dudes too, to these big securities and everything. But dude actually swung, and it was just like people just got thrown around real quick and hit a couple times. I mean, the baby did more damage like last week probably. Like he probably did more damage yesterday for all we know.
But the big difference with this is that these are not even that it's Sweden, but these are a minority population in Sweden. I don't know if you guys know, but the refugees in Sweden haven't been treated well. Right? So these I don't know if they're necessarily on refugees, but they are
the Syrians or the.
I think they're Afghan.
So this is Yemen. This is people from Yemen.
So it's Somalians, and I think the Yemenites.
Yeah.
That are kind of coming over into Sweden.
Yeah, you're right.
But Sweden's never really dealt with immigration. That's the really thing.
A lot of those
Sweden wasn't in world wars because geographically they're
making countries that have not traditionally dealt with.
No. Well, geographically, Sweden's hard to get to. It's completely surrounded by mountains. Every piece around it is completely isolated. That's why it's never fought in any wars. That's why it doesn't get into any international matters. That's why people launder money there, because it's so completely isolated. Sweden was a straight bloodline that stayed, you know what I mean, in that area. The Swedish people, like you said, there was no minority. It was Swedish people there and some people visiting. That's what Sweden. But now, again, with these immigration issues that they've never dealt with, they are treating people very inhumanely. They've never ever dealt with these type of issues before because they've never had to.
Ghettoizing them. Yeah,
It's like a country's gentrification.
Yeah.
Like before people's eyes. You know what I mean? So yeah, a lot of people are gonna mess up, but it's a lot of fear that people are dealing with because they've never dealt with the situation again. So it's just a really messed up situation.
And so
we have United
That's
Nations.
who A$AP Rocky himself is.
No, he did it in Sweden.
I'm saying is that he assaulted
that's somebody that was
refugee.
yeah, because I saw people talking about it on Twitter and YouTube that actually confirmed that these weren't like, and you could just see in the video.
Yeah, they weren't. They look Middle Eastern. They look.
Yeah,
they didn't have no blue eyes, no blonde
and
hair.
another issue was that apparently I don't know if this is confirmed. Y'all let me know out there, but Sweden did automatically notify the U.S. Embassy when they actually locked up A$AP, and that's the first thing you're supposed to do whenever you're a foreign.
In any country, that's like a universal thing in most United Nations.
You have to alert someone. So the Trump administration, they were really upset about that.
Ooh, that's bad.
So this could be a big issue.
This is a
Kim Kardashian and Kanye in his ear, like, let this happen.
Somebody did say that. Somebody sent Kim Kardashian over there.
I saw this.
Y'all ignorant.
Well, I told y'all, she comes from the same bloodline as Trump. Nobody's gonna believe it, but look up her bloodline. Straight Scottish royalty.
Talking about Kim?
Kim and Trump both come from Scottish royalty.
She Armenian, so.
Yeah, I thought she was Armenian.
Scottish royalty.
No,
No,
but I mean,
look down the Kardashian is a made up name. First of all, that wasn't their name, but it means Mason. Kardashian, but it's a made up last name. They changed your name to Kardashian. No, you can look up the meaning of it. Yeah, I get you. Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I wasn't being serious. I was carrying the conversation. That's all I'm saying. Nah, I actually see it on like Yahoo, the Yahoo updates and all that stuff that come out.
where they start tracing bloodlines and stuff like that, or like things that come out. And it's weird because I didn't see somebody say, oh yeah, Trump, and I actually brought it up to you, like it's just my little conspiracy. Because, you know, a while ago I would see it on, again, that Yahoo stuff, where they highlight like, yeah, his mom is like comes straight from the descendants of Scottish royalty. Same thing with Kim Kardashian's bloodline. It goes from like, they were talking about some crook to kind of glorify crime, you know, to kind of take that off too, but they ended up tracing her back to Scottish royalty, that ass. And when I think of Scottish royalty, I always think of Masons. I think of Scottish Rite, and you know, there's two sides of it. So that's my little conspiracy. I didn't actually see it on YouTube. I just started putting little things together. Like,
you gotta record.
Why is she?
There you go.
That's my because
the crazy music.
The thing that planted to see was why is she even in his ear? It made no sense to me. And then when I make those links, I'm like, maybe that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? I'm not confirming. I'm nobody to confirm that, but that's where I get the. So I probably should put this on YouTube. Huh?
Kanye's been friends with Ivanka for like the last 10 years. Yeah,
That's orgy shit. I don't care to hear about that.
Ivanka actually, she the person that got the girl. She introduced him to the girl that played in the Runaway video.
Oh.
She the one that told him to put her in.
There it is. So we're not going back.
Wait, was she in bed with Trump and all them too?
Hold on.
And then you know what I'm talking about? That
Let's
famous.
wrap up the show. We can talk about this off the show. So thank y'all so much for tuning in. We really appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for rocking with us the whole time.
Coming back too.
Yes. Coming back with us too. Appreciate that. Once again, this is Brother Justin Famous. If y'all appreciate any of his music, he's gonna be releasing the first single, "Running Up," to the Dreamin EP this Friday. Just make sure y'all follow him at
Justin Famous _.
Boom. You already know what it is. You already know that I am Terry Tertiary. This is Brother
Impact.
And as always, turn up,
Turn around.